So Obby Creator added this new part type, load part. What it'll do is you can make it so that, I guess you can, this is the first time I'm looking at it. I guess you can put in an obby ID, and then if you step on it, the obby you're playing wants to load a new obby. Would you like to load this obby? It could be another obby the owner has made, for example. Oh, so it can be any obby. I'd like to think that this was because of my update ideas video, but I don't know. I do believe it's still a wise decision to keep like these things that say the obby ID. Of course, I've replaced them with these like better images. The reason this one isn't like that yet is because I haven't finished the Citadel. I'll go in and replace these on all these things later. Alright, so I should be able to walk into this, and then I'll click load in a second. Let me just make sure I made this can't collide false. By that I mean cast shadow false. So I can load that, and I think because I own it, I should still be able to edit it. So for me, it should just do the same thing as, oh, maybe not. Alright, well, maybe that's a bug that could be fixed, or that was, like, intentional for some reason. Also, I just fixed the floor. I accidentally messed that up. Anyway, let's get to the actual building of this video. Here's the obby ID if you want to come play this. Well, have you ever seen the movie Interstellar? If not, you should. I'll try not to spoil too much, but basically there's this one scene where they're near a black hole, and so, like, theory of relativity makes it so that 1 hour there is 7 years on Earth, as shown in this very high quality image. And so we're kind of taking inspiration from that, as well as 4 comments for today's video. So floor 8 of Citadel of the Infinite Abyss. Actually, it's more like floor 8 through 9. It was originally going to be just floor 8, but it's floor 8 and 9 now. So I don't feel like doing the whole push box section at the moment, but at the end it deactivates this. Question mark, question mark, question mark says theory of relativity. Player says there's a black hole in the distance. I can feel its gravitational pull from here. Hence the conveyors. Wait, the theory of relativity. Time back on Earth is going faster relative to us. Who knows how bad it is this close to the black hole? Here, just 1 hour could be 7 years on Earth. That's referencing Interstellar. Like, that's the amount it is while they're on that planet in that one scene. Player says that might be why we saw something that looked like Tower of Low parts from Ring 1 earlier. Time is a resource now. We must move quickly. They also say that. And there's also this note here that says that there isn't actually a time limit, so you can take your time. And there's another note that says, it basically says some of the edges are can collide false, so like don't think you can go all the way to the edge. That's because of the wedges, the way I ended up making that, and the conveyors. So I originally got the idea of adding a black hole here from this comment. It says you should add a black hole on one of the floors of the Citadel to add on for more of the Abyss part. When I was trying to find that comment, there's this thing in YouTube Studio where you can like search by words in the comment. So I searched a black hole, and while doing so, I found another comment from back on the Citadel of Abstraction series on the math-themed floor video. Make the middle of the floor a black hole and have a bunch of gameplay revolving around it, maybe using spinners. So it's not really in the middle of the floor, but like what's the idea of what's going on here is that's the black hole, and it's supposed to look like it's far away. Unfortunately, parallax effect makes it pretty obvious it's not, and I also can't just put it that far away. And we also have these spinners. I would like them to like actually be going around it, but that's not really going to work because then it'd have to go outside the obby slot or something. So every platform, or at least almost every platform, should be a conveyor with a speed of 3, like you see here. Let's just do a few conveyor jumps to start out with. Because of the conveyors, it's going to be kind of limited in terms of what gameplay I can do. Like, certain things I'll be able to do. I won't really be able to do, like, a fading conveyor, because, I mean, maybe I could with, like, buttons or something. We could do, like, a Can Collide True kill brick conveyor. Yeah, it would probably be easier to place it as a normal conveyor that looks like a kill brick and then put an invisible kill brick on top of it, instead of putting a kill brick with an invisible conveyor on it. On this back wall right here, I think would be a perfect spot for the next comment we're going to be taking inspiration from. So the one about the black hole is kind of the main one I'm taking inspiration from, and the rest are sort of minor gameplay ideas, I guess. It's this comment here. I'm not going to read it because it's really long and kind of confusing, but it's basically we're going to be rebuilding a section from TOUS. I don't even remember what that stands for. It's some tower in Ring 9 of JTOH, I believe. What we're going to do is basically it's like a spinner on the wall that's can collide false, and so you can kind of see where platforms actually are based on that. At the bottom of the comment, they mention I should like make it darker to make this work, but I don't think I need to do that with an idea I have in mind. So we have a spinning neon part like that. Now we take a part like that. The conveyor is going to be invisible, by the way. And I guess we can make this can collide false, but it's not really going to matter that much. So what I want is for the part that's right here, the visible one, to appear like you can't see it unless this is over it. I think in the comment they said to make it 0.2 and 0.1, and that makes sense because that'll make it like pretty much flat against the wall, if that makes sense. And also they're not the same thickness, which would make it like this might cover that. It would be weird. I might need to slow this down actually. Now you should be able to see it fine. Now that I've set the correct properties on this conveyor so it's not can collide false, you can see that's how this will work. I think what I might do is I'll put some more platforms up here that we'll come back to later in the floor. So we have trip part conveyors after this, which is a conveyor with a trip part on top of it. That's the way I made that. You know, something I want to add to this is make it so the ends are like curved. So I think I can make this be like this and then change it to be a cylinder. And then change the spin distance so that it, make it so it does that. And then I'll just put one on the other side, probably by just rotating it. There we go, 25 is the number. So now duplicate that and then rotate it 180 degrees on that axis. There we go, doesn't that look so better? The next section we're gonna do is a push box section, but it's a conveyor thing. Well, that's kind of what you think it's gonna be. I mean, technically you do have to do the push box section a little bit, but you're not getting to the button you think you're getting to. Here's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be the push box section, but once it reaches a certain point, it's gonna activate the whole section, which is a moving part actually, and start taking it towards the black hole. So it's like the black hole like broke it off of the floor, you know, like a bunch of these other things that are happening. Although first I'm probably going to want to make this go a little bit closer to there, but I'm probably going to want to build it more like here rather than here, so we'll build a few more jumps first. Since I am limited in the number of conveyors I can place, it shouldn't really be an issue, but I may as well make like certain things just be regular parts if they can be, like if you don't ever actually go on top of them, such as this part. Alright, time to build the moving push box section. We can have these dimensions, and we also need to decide where it's going to, which I guess can be over there. Okay, now I need to build this whole platform out of these moving parts, but they gotta be moved using the scale. That way it like also moves it over here, because you can see it scales on both of them. So if I use scale to move it, then I know this isn't a conveyor at the moment, but we will fix that momentarily. Okay, I think that's good. So now if I select everything, it should look the same at both of these locations. Actually, I do still want to add some neon on top of here for design purposes. Another change I'm going to make is making this look like it's like breaking apart, kind of like I did up here, which by the way, this is going to be, you go on this like ladder walk thing later. I can't use wedges this time, unfortunately, because you can't make a moving wedge, because you can't like change this to a wedge. It has to be either a block or cylinder, so we'll just have to use like that. I can rotate them though, so maybe that'll be okay. For the conveyor, I placed one right on top of here, and it's gotta be can't collide true for it to actually do anything. I also added this push box here and the button. Well, actually this isn't a button, it's just a moving part like everything else. This is the actual button that is push block activated and activate parts. As you can probably guess, it's gonna activate all these moving parts. There we go. And so the reason I wanted to like have that be broken over there was so that like the push box would fall out of it. But of course it doesn't really matter that much because you're not going to use this anyway. Once you push this button, that's all you got to do. You probably did notice it got like stuck on this conveyor. If we just maybe duplicate this and change this to make objects invisible and then make it delete that. Well, not delete it, but you know what I mean. Then I think that should work. Well, apparently it still had everything else selected. I feel like it's probably just going to be easier to put a new button. There we go. So now, if that falls, then, yeah, it doesn't, like, the conveyors can't collide false. Also, I want to select all the moving parts and make them have reverse off. I'm going to make the edge of this be can't collide false. I guess we'll make it so you jump on, like, these spinners. We'll move them now. I just had them where they were before for, like, testing purposes. So we're just going to have a lot of spinning parts and stuff around here. And yeah, that's going to be the next section here. Alright, I finished the floor. Here's the Obby ID, if you want to come play this. So like I said, the previous floor ends when you go through here. Question mark, question mark, question mark says theory of relativity. Player says there's a black hole in the distance. I can feel its gravitational pull from here. Wait, theory of relativity. Time back on Earth is going faster relative to us. Who knows how bad it is this close to the black hole. Here, just 1 hour could be 7 years on Earth. Player says that might be why we saw something that looked like Tower of Low Parts from Ring 1 earlier. Time is a resource now. We must move quickly. There's actually a time limit, so you can take your time. For now, some of the wedges at the edge of the floor are can't collide false, so just like don't go near there. Anyway, you start over here, and now you have this section already where you have to look at where the platforms are. So you gotta look at where those things are visible, like right there. Alright, then we got these trip parts you gotta be careful of, so just hold space and you'll be fine. They are also conveyors, by the way. Probably keep jumping here. Here we got some wall hops, and so you can go into climbing animation right there. Alright, now we have this push box section, so you need to do that. Yeah, it's a little bit broken at the moment because it like is weird and doesn't press both of them at the same time, even though it did the first time I attempted that. Here's what we'll do. We'll take the button that deactivates the conveyor, move it to be right with this global properties part, which I'll explain what that does in just a second. Oh, wait, the problem might have been because this button was set to player activated. Well, that's what I want it to be now anyway. and it just should deactivate the same thing. Question mark, question mark, question mark says your healing has been disabled. That's what that global properties part is. And that came from this comment, by the way. Actually, there's a bonus comment here. I think this was like a tower idea for the main Ring 3, which would be that like there's single-use heal parts. So I might do that later in the Citadel. Alright, anyway, after you do these spinning jump things, you kind of got to figure out this one, how you like go around on the center one, like once. I did that wrong. You're trying to get to there. Maybe it's possible to wrap around the kill brick, but I don't know. Now be aware that that's a conveyor. And by the way, the closer you are to the black hole, whoops, the faster the conveyors go. Not by too much, though. Alright, and then you go across this. These are can climb false, by the way, so in climbing animation, like a ladder walk. Also, it turns out we don't need this at all, so I can delete that. There's going to be, like, ladder flick off of there, but then the ladder would have to go so low you'd be able to jump to it from there, so that would not work. From here, you're almost done with the floor. You got some wraparounds and a cylindrical kill brick wraparound. Oh, I'm about to die. Oh, and also, even if you do fall, like, to before where it deactivates your healing, you still can't heal. Okay, so there's the button. It activates, or deactivates this door for 10 seconds. There we go. And if you didn't see it before, this is what it looks like. It's just like that, with an invisible part that's like 1 stud thick instead of 0.5. That way you can't dance clip through. That's going to be the end of today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This is the Obby ID. Once again, if you have any ideas for future floors of this Citadel, as usual, feel free to comment them. I'll see you in the next video, and have a great day.